let's get it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Emily. I'm just joining the team here in support of all of you. I work with Heather and Brian, and we're super excited to have you join today. The MGCI training session. We've got Sharon and Wes joining us, and they are going to be our presenters and present some awesome information for you all. Before we get started, I do want to share with you just the agenda. We'll do some quick intros. Maybe you already know Sharon and Wes, and we're going to talk a little bit about graphics when it comes to events, and then we'll do a little bit of Ask Me Anything. So I do want to remind everybody that we adhere to our code of conduct. You can see it here listed or shown on the screen. But overall, please just be respectful of everybody and make sure that you are being great citizens when you join our MGCI meetings and all meetings for that matter. Okay. As you all know, the MGCI initiative is all about event amplification, production and training. It's about blogs, networking, technology, and all of our best practices and giving resources and playbooks to the Microsoft community. We love the Microsoft community. Okay, so I did already introduce myself. I threw in the chat, would love for you to all pop in and share where you are joining from, what you do, all of that. You can add your LinkedIn profile into the chat as well. That would be awesome. And I want you to meet your amazing trainers. So Sharon Weaver, who's the founder and CEO of Smarter Consulting. She's an RD for Microsoft, an MVP, and part of the MCT. So Sharon is going to be driving this meeting and imparting a ton of knowledge to you. And then Wes Preston, who is the owner of Trekstone, is also joining. He's going to be in support of Sharon. He's going to give his 2 cents or 5 cents, maybe even $1 here. I'm not exactly sure, but he is on call to help out as well.
All right, we did the introductions. This is me and Wes. Hi, Wes. Welcome. All right, and then behind the scenes, I don't know why this is showing. There we go. Of course, we have our fantastic Microsoft sponsors, Caruana, Heather, and Brian, who do nothing but assist us and help us and make our lives amazing. And we really appreciate everything that they do for us.
The little pause after do nothing was just too much.
No, they're amazing. Can't say enough good things about all of them.
Heather's like doing a whirlwind tour, I think. She was here on Friday. She was in Chicago over the weekend. I don't know where she is now.
Sept, one of the AI tours. She's mentioned she was at one of the AI tours. I just don't remember which one. So if you're interested in finding out more about the MGCI, feel free to go to the AKMS MGCI Community Hub. There's information about speakers and events, and you can sign up and all kinds of cool, interesting things. If you go to the Microsoft Tech community, has all of the information on what is going on with MGCI. So one of the new things on Microsoft Tech community is user groups. So if you want to check out the new user group preview, again, you can click on this AKMS MTC/user groups. And I know there's a lot of really new stuff coming on tech community. They're just like really trying to blow this out and make it like the go-to, right? The place to hang out. So check out all the cool new things out there, but user groups are one of them. All right, this will get me to where I can go. I can talk a little bit. And Wes, feel free to jump in anywhere you want. So we talked about this last year, and I took a lot of the same slides to kind of revisit this topic, but I also kind of tweaked a few things, and I felt like there were some new updates we could talk through. But our topic for today is talking about impactful event graphics. So when you think about not just the marketing aspect, but we think about marketing, we talk about promotion, we're going to talk about like during the events, and everything that kind of goes together. We think about events kind of across the board. And so I'm going to give you some tips and tricks today. I'm also going to give you some of just the experience that I've got. And I'm sure there's people on this call that have all kinds of great information to share with this group. So again, while I am facilitating the conversation, this is not me just presenting one way. Feel free to participate, ask questions, comment, if you've got ideas. Love to have your participation as we go forward in this conversation. All right, so I had put this together a while back. It is obviously not comprehensive. There's all kinds of options of things that need to be done, but I put this together to kind of put in perspective the amount of graphics and images that are needed in a typical event. Because at the end of the day, a lot of times what happens is you start going through it and you're like, oh, did you do this? And 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 what formats are they in? Because if you need to have anything printed, whether it's on paper or on a sign, or you want to put things on jackets or hats or glasses, or you want to be able to enlarge something to a very large scale so that people can actually see what it is. Not only do you have to have many of these different things, but you also have to have them in multiple formats. And so I thought it would be nice to just kind of put together this super duper high level list of things that you might consider that you need to do. And again, it's not comprehensive. If you have ideas of different types of images that you think people might need that maybe I didn't cover on this list, love to see that in chat. If you're like, well, this is a great list, Sharon, but you forgot about da 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 da. I probably did. You are probably right. And the point here is how many graphics and images and logos that one would need to put on a successful event. I just don't think we think about it on a regular basis. Wes, you have a pensive look on your face. Did you have a comment?
Nope. I'm typing.
Okay. No, you're good.
I was gonna say that's an awesome list. My first, I don't want to say I'm on the other end of the spectrum on this, but I'm really simplistic on this stuff. I very much appreciate all the graphics and like all the things that can be done and when they're done, how awesome they are. We don't have an awesome graphics person on for our event, so we can't leverage it as much. So what I was just saying is, if you have a logo, the simplest thing is jamming that into many and most of those places or a variation of it. And then after that, you kind of build on it, right? So I mean, the other example that I think of is the Miami event, where they had fantastic graphics for all kinds of stuff, all sorts of variations of their logo and their event graphics. So I mean, it's not a one size fits all. If you can get a logo, even a simple one that you make up all by yourself, that's a great place to start. So yeah, again, my 5 and 10 cents that I can.
No, I think that's exactly what I wanted to hear, because the truth of the matter is that's it. You're putting this in a lot of places, but I think it's a good point to say it does not all have to be different images. You can have the same image in a lot of these different locations. And if you're trying to stay on a budget, keep things to one color or black and white, because when you start talking about printing, the more colors you have, the more expensive it can get. So if you have black and white, or you have one color, white plus one other color, the more simple your logo is, the more consistent it is, the less amount of colors it is. When you're starting, the more you can repurpose that across a lot of different needs.
Yep.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right, so one of the main things that people ask about is, okay, but if I'm putting stuff on community days, what do I need to know, right? So we talk about all the different images that we need. And one of them is, this is one of the first things we do, right? There's, I want to have an event. I want to go out. I want to be able to put this on somewhere. And the first thing we do is go look at communities. And the very first thing they say is, okay, what's your image? And you're like, wait a minute, I have a date and a venue. What do you mean I have to have an image too? So I always bring this up because if you can start with a venue and a date and an image, like you're 99% of the way there. This is like the last part of the trifecta to get started. And then after that, you just have to put on the event. No big deal. And so I got this, the dimensions for best practices around this. So when you're making your images for the Community Days event site, the recommendation is a 16:9 ratio for the main images. And that way it will look really, really nice on the side. And then if you also notice that there's a note here, it says images without text are best. And here's why. It's because all of the information about the event is going to sit on top of that image. And so a lot of times what I will do is I will take either whatever the theme is that we are going for that year on our event or our logo, and I will actually like pick kind of a more abstract part of that, and I'll fade it out, have a little bit more transparent, or I'll go pick something that is kind of the vibe of our event. And I really like this New York City one because it's not the logo, it's not the event graphic, but it is showing you kind of New York City at its finest, and it's kind of faded out a little bit so you can see the information that's sitting on top of it. So we know what it is. It gives us the vibe. Nobody had to make a custom graphic for this if they just kind of grabbed an image of the city and popped it in here real quick. It does not have to be difficult to do this. It just needs to be the right ratio, dimensions, and for this particular image, maybe don't use your logo, maybe don't use text, just use something that kind of makes people think about your event.
100% agree on that one. Our Community Days one we used is ancient. It's from our old venue, but it has people in it. It has all of our, like, has our whole team in it. It has people from the community in it. And then the one that we use on Sessionize is, not Sessionize, on Eventbrite is our city skyline, right? So it's, again, like you were just saying, Sharon, it's something that people can recognize and know that they're kind of looking at the right area.
Yeah, and also notice down here that like as you navigate through site, so this is the slider image, so you can see a little slider. As you navigate into the image, it's going to crop it a little bit. And it does what's called a center crop, meaning that it's going to go to the center of the image and it's going to cut everything around it that doesn't fit into the ratio. So try really hard to put whatever it is that's really important in that image right in the middle, so that if it does kind of trim some stuff off the edges, it really doesn't matter a whole lot. All right. And then there's the cards that pop up in here. And so this is a 7:8 ratio. That's really what you need to know. It doesn't really matter as far as the size. For the most part, it's small enough that it doesn't have to be a big image. It just needs to have that right ratio. Otherwise, this is what happens if you put an image out here and it like squishes like this or it squishes like this. It's because your ratio is off a little bit, and it's just trying to force it to fit. But what will happen is once it's kind of set in there, then the images will grow and shrink depending on screen size. And I'm going to be honest, I know some of this stuff has been updated and I was going to update this and I got really busy this week and didn't, but it still stands that it's a 7:8 image. And so when you put it in there, just make sure that you've got the ratio, and it should work out pretty well. All right. That said, I just like talking about things. I like talking about how things look. I did this on purpose. Don't you guys love my title? Isn't it great? I did it on purpose, and I did it because it makes you feel something. So somebody told me once, art is art if it makes you have a feeling, if it makes you have an emotion, if it makes you react to it, right? And so often people think that the only type of art is the art that makes you feel good. But in general, art makes you feel in general. And so one of the things that I think about a lot when I create images for any of the events that I work with, or when I'm creating marketing materials or communications or things like that, is how does that make people feel? And so this is really important because we run events, because we help manage events, because we participate on event committees. We want people to come to our events, right? That's really what it is. And we do our events in the locations we love because we love where we're at, but not everybody loves them like we do. And so I'm going to be honest, we love our hometowns, and often we represent our hometowns, but then we go, you should come to this place. And people are like, why? And so we have to get them to feel the same way about wherever it is that we're trying to get them to come, or the event, what we're going to show them, the location, what we're going to show them, the information that we're going to show them. We really want to emote that same feeling across the board to the people that we are trying to attract to come to our event. All right. And as much as we want to say on here, well, people will come because we're training them on M365 or Power Platform or whatever. I mean, that's a true statement kind of to begin with. But the second piece of this is we really do want them to get excited about whatever it is we're excited about. And usually it's a mix of the topics of what we're training on and the location that we're in or something around that. So the things that I want you to think about is these really super duper basic things around design principles. So for example, I sure did use a Joker Man font up here because I never get to use it. And this was like the perfect reason to do it because it makes you feel weird. That's why people don't like Joker Man. They're like, what the heck are you doing? That makes me feel weird. I put it in a funky color and I did it contrast, meaning I did it backwards because it makes your brain kind of perk up and be like, wait, that's not normal. What's different about that? So keep this in mind in terms of design principles, all right? There's a mixture of this thing called color theory. Feel free to look it up. And color theory basically says in the United States, I was just talking to Jonathan about this the other day. Did you know that there's color theory is different in different cultures around the world, okay? So in the United States, this color theory stands. And I want to point it out because if you're in a different part of the world, go to a different part of the world and go look and see how they feel about different colors, all right? But in the United States, we kind of feel this way about colors. So we associate things like green with nature and yellow with happiness and red with power. This kind of white and gray is calm. Purple is luxury and royalty. So we kind of have these associations, but I want you to think about where you're at and who you're trying to attract, who your target audience is when you think about color theory. And I talk about color a lot because if I think that red is powerful, but then I find a culture that thinks red is about death or sadness, then I might not want to use red in my marketing materials and my images if I think that that's going to make them feel sad. That's not the feeling I want to emote. But if I think that red is going to make them feel powerful because they're in a culture where red equals that kind of feeling, then I'm probably going to say, yeah, this is a great color to use in our image. You'll notice in the United States, a lot of people use blues. It's because in the United States, we see blue as a color of success and calm and feeling good. It's like just a good vibe. And we tend to stay away from the reds, like the bright reds and the dark reds a little bit, just because those tend to be a little bit more kind of alarming and strong and warning and things like that. So think about what you're doing, who you're trying to get this across to, and then when we think about color theory, how they're going to feel as that happens. Over here, there's some different principles that you can think about. So up here, I've done this contrast. Essentially, contrast is just putting two different colors against each other. Alignment is always fun, right? You can have words in different ways, maybe have them upside down or side to side. How you arrange things on a page is considered hierarchy. Proximity We think about like abstract art, you know, things that are kind of assembled across of a page, but then maybe I've got one a little further away. Balance is how well everything is symmetrical, so next to it. Simplicity is a really good one. Less is always more. I'm not saying don't put anything, but like don't fill it. We're going to talk about clutter here in a minute. And then there's this idea of repetition, which is, you know, using things that go together to kind of complement each other. If you think about like people use like table mats. I don't know if you guys use like little placemats anymore, but like if you have a couple placemats on top of each other, you can, you know, kind of put those together and they look nice. So anyways, the key here is understand which audience you're speaking to. And we have a global audience here, so it's really nice to think about which culture am I trying to attract people in and which colors do I want to use. Make sure you recognize what the emotion is going to be for those colors. Choose fonts that are going to be clear and readable and make sense and hopefully come across well in a web environment. So we're going to use simple fonts. And think about your key design principles as you put things together. Obviously, I'm not teaching you guys how to be like graphics people, but I think just having some of these core principles and elements in your design will make you think about it just a little bit more. All right. There's so many tools and resources out there. It used to be, I talked a lot about like Canva and the Adobe tools and even just like Paint, right? We used to talk about all kinds of stuff. But now with AI, guys, with AI, if you're not using AI to make images, at least to get you started for ideas, for ideation, I definitely go look out there and see what kind of ideas you can come up with. And then you can work with somebody to turn those ideas into something that's a little bit cleaner and more professional and things like that. But Canva has been one of my favorite go-to tools. You can do all kinds of fun stuff. There is a free version that you can get into for just simple designs. If you want the paid version, it's fairly inexpensive. I use Copilot, Chat, and ChatGPT quite a bit just to make ideation things, to kind of look at how things would look together. And then I pick something and then I can turn it into something that is a better design. Ask around, get ideas from other people. Adobe Firefly is another new one that's just kind of a new tool to go out there and generate ideas. But long and short of it is, don't be afraid to find a tool that you can work with, and templates. So like we said before, you know, find a primary logo that you really, really love, and then just build around that. If you have like a primary logo that represents your event or represents, you know, your group or whatever, you can then reuse that particular logo or image over and over and over in just lots of different ways. Because after that, you can even use stock images, icons, or AI to build around your image in all kinds of fun and different ways that can then help you to be successful for your event. So a little bit more about design techniques. I pulled a couple of good things in here that I had found on the web that I just thought were nice. So whenever you're trying to design things, these are what you're trying to accomplish, this idea of getting people to look at it, but then wanting to stay there, right? So if you give them the shock factor, that's fine, as long as it's pleasant afterwards. What we don't want is the shock factor that makes them look and then makes them look away. Okay, so think about it this way. Eye-catching should also be eye-keeping, right? I want to catch your eye, but then I want to keep your eye. So once I catch your eye, once I give you something that's interesting to look at, then make sure that it tells them what it is that they're looking at and why they're looking at it. Make sure your size and format is appropriate for whatever it is that you've got on there. Think about how your colors and your fonts work together. We already talked about design elements. Think about design elements. So if we look up here, we can see that there's, you know, there's stuff on here. Less is more. There's plenty of space. If we look over here, we can see we essentially have the exact same logo, just in different colors. They've then repurposed this in a couple of different places. We've used our alignment right here where we've just taken the exact same words and just made them look a little bit different. So you can see that they've essentially templated this and then just repurposed it with some really super duper basic stock kind of images, but with that same logo like we've talked about it. All right. Once you're done and you're ready to finalize it and export it, and this is where I was saying that big list is like all these different image types, PNGs, PDFs, really nice image formats that you can use with pretty much anybody. If anybody that needs to do printing, I would definitely work with a printer. Call your local printer. Also, by the way, buy local. Find your local print shop, call up a couple, say, hey, I run an event. I'd like to make, some flyers or some signs or whatnot. Most of them are very, very nice. A lot of them have a graphics person in-house, and a lot of times they will include that in the price of whatever you're printing. So they'll work out a deal for you. They'll help you, but make sure that you are including a graphic artist in this. Yes. Thank you so much, Russ. In fact, whenever we talk about color theory, it's actually a really good point. Think about colorblind, the fact that people can be colorblind. In fact, there's a very large percentage of people that are colorblind. So think about the different colors of what they can see and what they can't see so that you can make sure that when you create things like this, you're not putting something out there for a group of people that can't even see it anyways. So make sure you think about that. All right. So again, when you're optimizing your graphics, for social media, PNGs, GIFs, JPEGs, any of those are totally fine. They do not have to be large. Social media in general is pretty easy to get away with, small web-friendly images. Websites kind of depends on the site, but I would say that's more of you want to have a larger resolution. It's more important to have a higher resolution and the right ratios on websites. Otherwise, your images can get squished. You see them like this or like this. Maybe they don't look quite right. So for websites, you're going to think more about ratios and having a little bit higher resolution so they look nice. And then for print materials, these are going to be your highest resolution images. And again, I really recommend if you're going to do anything in print, before you spend a bunch of money on print, because this is the stuff where we spend money, right? A good sign can be easily $100 minimum. Before you do print materials, at least talk to somebody who has printed before and ask them to help you. And like I said, call your local print shop. A lot of them have graphics people that actually work at the print shop, and most of them would be happy to help you. Yes, Jonathan, ask a colorblind person to look at it. It's a great way to test it. I think that's a fantastic idea. Okay, so my title disappeared. I don't know where it went. It got lost in there somewhere. So common pitfalls to avoid. As you can see, these definitely catch your eye, right? But do they keep you? Do they keep your eye on it? Probably not. You probably want to look away as soon as humanly possible because you're like, ugh, do I have to look at that anymore, right? And here's why, right? There's tons of clutter. There is poor color choices. There's low quality images. There's platform specific issues, right? None of this works well together. And it's honestly, it's a little ironic that I swear I updated this, but it's a little ironic that my tap to add title right here is even blending in. Like, I think it's kind of funny, actually, like it adds to the element, right? And so when you look at things like this, I know that you love images. I know that you think you need to have a lot of images. I know that you think they need to be all over the place. You need more information. You need more words. You need more signs. You don't. I promise you don't. All right. Just remember, less is more. Look at this anytime, you want to think about why you should not put that extra stuff on the page. Just kind of like go Google bad examples of marketing information, and it will remind you. You will look at it and you will be like, oh, that's right. Don't do that. Got it. So don't do these things is what I'm saying. Just don't have too much stuff on here. On top of this, can you even imagine how much money these would cost to print? I understand that we've color laser printers now, but if you were to like blow this up, like this would be ridiculously expensive because you have to pay for every single color. So it's insane. Okay. So here's some good examples of things that I thought went well. Again, this is from last year. But I thought these were some really nice ones where, they made sense, right? One of the things you'll notice across a lot of these is that they're very clean. The colors are very pleasing to the eye. They're things that are recognizable. They're things that make sense to you. They're things that have little elements of fun. So I think about things like the Lego in the Cloud Camp. I think of the Wave in the LA. The New York City skyline is also very awesome. The Figma conference was just like super kind of design heavy. Even with the Microsoft stuff, you'll notice that they use really simple colors, really simple images. The font is very clean and easy to read. So you can just see like they don't need all that extra stuff to be on there to get the feeling of what you're trying to go for, to understand it. So when you want to do it right, if you want to like play with the big boys and have images that just really stand out, stop trying so hard and back off a little bit and think about clean, simple shapes, easy to read text, only the information that needs to be on here. And then everybody will probably look at this and be like, oh my gosh, that's an amazing image. All right. Just don't work too hard at it. All right. So this is an AI prompt. And so again, from an ideation perspective, an AI prompt is a land of question marks of all styles and sorts, abstract. And so just this, oh, hey, look, did mine get lost? At the very, very end, I just wanted to leave you guys with something to think about when you're ideating on things. Think about different things that make you feel a different way, and go into AI, type some prompts, see how you feel about how that looks, and let that inspire you a little bit. Even if you don't use the images, like, whether you use images or not from a responsible AI perspective, I'm going to leave that out. That's a philosophical conversation for a different day. What I will tell you that I feel 100% passionate about and okay with is if you go into any AI tool and you prompt it to create images that help inspire you to decide what kind of images to use and how to do things, I really do think it will help you to make amazing images for your events. What questions do you guys have?
Feel free to come off of mute if anyone would like to ask a question.
Not feel free. Come off of mute. Turn your cameras on. Come on. Say hi to us. I know you guys are hiding out there. I'm going to be aggressively helpful, Wes.
Hi, this is Cheryl from Phoenix, and I'm not really familiar a lot with designing to promote on LinkedIn, and I wonder if you could touch on that a little bit and what we might need to know when we're preparing stuff for LinkedIn.
I was trying to think about specifics. I know LinkedIn's got some design guidelines. I'll see if I can find the link.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think too. I think I just jammed mine in there, but it also doesn't fit perfectly either.
Yeah, the thing with LinkedIn, even the cover ratios are slightly skewed. They're more longer on the length.
Yeah, mine get cut off on the top and bottom a little bit, but I put them in there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I have in Canva certain dimensions, like the LinkedIn event cover, the meetup.com event covers, and whatever plan. You make sure you have them so you are ready for any of your future events.
So one of the things is for a lot of the different places, if you actually dig a little bit, a lot of them will have their recommendations listed somewhere. So here's the link for LinkedIn for recommendations around what the different images are, what the minimums are, what the recommended sizes are, and some tips and tricks that are directly from LinkedIn.
Okay, thanks. I'll check them out and see how far I get.
Yeah, if anybody else has any LinkedIn tips, feel free to pop them in chat or come off mute.
I dropped a link to the Microsoft Create, the LinkedIn design templates as well.
And Community Days even has an FAQ on that, right? On which images and image sizes and stuff. I know you covered it at the very beginning.
There are a few more other images in CDO. I think so. Those preview images also are there. I mean, it has got some good instruction, right? Don't have any legible text because it won't be legible.
Yeah.
Just popping back to the chat to see if there is anything in here. Any questions? Lots of great information, guys. Yes. Yeah, Christian, that's a great tip. There's optimized image sizes for every single social media platform, and you can ask AI to give you those.
Oh, nice.
It depends. Awesome. Like some they don't have, like some of the platforms, the Luma, they don't create that. I've tried to experiment a lot. I mean, I did do with a lot of things with Microsoft Designer. No matter how many prompts, it really doesn't come out through. So you have to bring like maybe 50 to 60% of your output back into Canva and get those whole stuff there. Especially if you, now the next one we had was VS Code Dev Day. So we had a template like the Copilot. It can flip the Copilot logo itself. Right, and you say don't touch the logos no matter how much. Like 3, 4, 5. I think so. I went up to like 10 prompts insisting don't flip the logo. Don't even touch it. But it goes and touches it. So anything you got to make sure about it. Like you give like gradients, backdrop. That's really good for AI. But if you go in specifics, then it kind of it has its own mind in that time.
Yeah, and in fact, I a lot of times for those types of images that you are not allowed to change, I will create something else and then I'll set that image on top of it. So I'll like create the space for it, and then I'll put the image that you're not allowed to change like on top of that other image afterwards. So, and I agree, Canva's amazing. I love working with Canva.
Yeah, and here's a good tip for me. I mean, for us, because you can actually use the Premiere just for that one day. Like it's just one day you can use the Premiere and that's it. And that's what I use it just to create. And that one day I do create all the kind of graphics I want. So that list which you have, Sharon, is really good. Have it, okay, which one I do really want to create and make that list ready. And on the day you're ready to do this, okay, buy that Canva Premium for one day and boom, just create them all and go all out.
Yeah, I do that a lot. So I'll just like be like, I need a certain thing and I'll just go through it. And you're absolutely right. Like I'll sit for like an hour and I'll just get all my images ready, throw them all in a folder. And actually, so Christian and I, we do the project failure files. And so what I do is about every 6 months, I'll go through and I'll just make a ton of images and I'll throw them all in a folder. And then that way he's got them. And so I like just sitting down for a period of time and just making them all, putting them in a folder and then having them for later. And then I can just kind of clean them up if I want them.
Which is also typically what you'll get from a designer if you ask them for for logos and images and stuff. It's not like they're going to show up and give you a single file and be like, here it is. They give you a whole suite of stuff that you can use on different places. So.
Yeah, I like your comment in here, Wes. Yeah, once you get a logo, once you get images, then you can decide what you want to do with them. And yes, in fact, next month, we're going to be talking about marketing. And so I love pairing this one up with the marketing session because here's all of the great images you can make. And then next month, we talk about all of the amazing things you can do with those images.
Is Pete still on or did he take off? Pete, if you're on. Yeah, swag. So the other event that happens in our locale here, they've got a whole swag store. I don't have the URL for it because, I don't promote them as much. But yeah, they've created a whole swag store. So, I mean, there's all kinds of fun stuff that you can do once you've got your logo.
Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of how many sponsor dollars you have. Which, speaking of, I believe we're going to be talking about sponsors in January. So
I have many thoughts on that, having just finished an event.
Sharon, you're giving a bunch of great previews for us. What's upcoming? It's awesome.
But I do remember last time when we had this, I think so Heather was going to speak with the Microsoft designer team. I mean, it's good to have some prompts that we can have to, get a little bit of finesse to our images that are coming out from Microsoft Designer. Because there should be some improvement over 1 year, at least with the AI kind of galloping ahead with all the improvements.
It would be really nice to have someone from the team talk about how that tool works and what are some tips and tricks, though. That'd be a really
because
cool
we
topic.
get tripped a lot. I mean, I get tripped a lot with Microsoft Design. I don't know, like you take it, you do it, and they're like 3-4 prompts, and then you go, okay, this is it. I give up.
Yep. I mean, that's a good topic from like AI prompting in general, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If you can get some insights from the folks behind the scenes that are, determining how it leads.
No, it's a good usage for event creators, right? I mean, that's it. I mean, you're right. Most of us don't have graphics, especially the tech guys, right? We're mostly especially if you're doing the DevOps. I mean, we are the command line guys. We don't like GUI. So that's really helpful. Like if they can help us create, okay, not some great, just above average, okay, better than what we can do on Paint or Canva. That'd be really good just by prompting it. Or what kind of tips we need to, they have to give us like guidelines, okay, if you want something, that'd be really great for, the event creators.
Great, Augustine, we'll take that as an action item and let you all know. Okay, we've got about 5 minutes left. Wes, were you going to say something?
Nope.
Okay, cool. Any other questions? Going once, going twice, 3 times? Okay, cool. Awesome. Thank you. I learned a ton, so I'm sure you all did too. I saw a bunch of comments in the chat. Augustine, like I mentioned, we'll take that as an action item. Hey, if you all have events that you need amplification for, Sharon just advanced the slide and you can fill out the form on AKAMS/community social. So put those in there. We'd love to help. We'd also love your feedback on this meeting. So please take a moment to give your insights, feedback, suggestions there. There's a link there and a QR code as well. Sharon, one more. Thank you for advancing. Okay, so this was awesome. Sharon and Wes have another training coming up in October on the 30th. We've got a guest speaker in Christian Buckley, and as Sharon mentioned earlier, gave a bunch of cool previews. We're on our toes for what's coming up in the future, but we've got marketing and social media on the 30th. We'll be taking a break in November and December, but be back in January on finding and managing sponsors. And in February, what do you do during an event, the run of show, making sure that everything goes smoothly. All right. And then let's see, upcoming, just in terms of some of the general sessions that are held the third Tuesday of every month. We have Perla Ramirez coming up in October, talking about Behind the Mic, the power of great sessions with speaker support. In November, we've got Augustine and Sei talking about how do we run our events and thriving against the odds, building a formidable community in unfavorable environments. So lots of stuff on the agenda for the end of the year. And then if any of you want to share any best practices that you've learned through building community or in upcoming sessions, please go ahead and fill out the AKA link in the form. All right. Oh, the other thing I should mention, so the MGCI is now on the Microsoft Tech community. We're moving over there. Sharon, I think you alluded to that maybe in the beginning. Sorry, my internet went out. So apologies on that, but everything is shifting over to the Microsoft Tech community, and you can find us there. You can find us on the community. You can select the community hub there when you go to the community hubs. If you, in the drop down up on the top, you'll find the Microsoft Global Community Initiative there. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Please, everyone, stay connected. This is a great group of people. We want to engage with everyone. There's ways to stay connected with the Microsoft Tech community, as I just mentioned. Microsoft or the communitydays.org is coming up, and you can find or host an event there in your area. And we've got the Microsoft community on LinkedIn, so join us. Okay.
Thanks,
Anything
everyone.
else, folks? Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Wes. Thank you, everybody, for your comments. And we'll see you at the next general session and at the next training and office hours.
See you in October.
Hi, guys.
Thanks, everyone.
Take care. Thanks, everyone.
Oh, bye.